are 1 week removed before NXT goes to the CW, so this may be the final episode of Draped in Gold. What's going on, everybody? Flobo Boyce here, giving the best of the white and gold brand. But as always, I'm not alone. I'm being joined by my co-host, who apparently is so popular. If the show gets canceled, people will be sad for him and him alone. The real Jack Farmer.
You can't blame some people for feeling the way they do, Flobo. This could be a very sad moment. But, we say this could be our last episode. We're kind of like the show Futurama. I feel like we've been canceled 6 times and continue to rise like the phoenix from the ashes. So this may be the last one. We may be back. You never know. By the way, though, I want to say it's never our fault that we were canceled.
Yeah.
Sometimes these podcasters, you see them quit and come back all the time. You can never count on them. But us, we've been cool hand Luke, steady, always there. It's the changes in networks that might be undoing us here, Flobo.
Yeah, it's kind of like we're the collision of podcasts. It's a moving target every week, Yeah. So just a little bit backstory. What's the CW move? Because CW is really one of the only networks that has strictly an affiliate organization. It's going to be harder for us living on the West Coast to get the East Coast feed to watch NXT in time to get that beautiful show prepped for you, because you want to make sure that we do our shows pretty much from top to bottom and it's high quality, either we're lying to ourselves. So with the move, it's a possibility that we won't be able to do it at all. So rather than us try to cram the show or try to do it late at night or just try to be 3 or 4 days late, maybe we might put it to bed. But if something comes up, if there's a bit of a respite, it may be different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So by
the way, everyone, let us know what you think about the show. This could be your last opportunity. Hit us with a comment, hit us with a like, or let us know if you want to see us figure out a way to continue the show. It's always good to see, if it's worth it sometimes.
Yeah, 160 plus episodes and being undone by a CW is not what I had on my bingo card.
That's kind of when we started 164 episodes ago. There's a part of me that's like, I don't know. I got a feeling the CW could be the thing that leads to a grinding halt.
I feel like everyone has like a bad UPN or WB story. Like the Clerks the animated series, it was only in 2 weeks. And then
Clerks the animated
deep cut,
series.
I know. Remember Desmond Pfeiffer or Homeboys in Outer Space? UPN has some hits, man.
I love that they just let anything hit the air.
Right. Shout out to Shasta McNasty. True story. Look it up. So anyway, before we get to NXT, man, you and I were doing the fantasy football thing, and I got my first loss this weekend in our fantasy football group, but it seems that you were on cloud 9. Now, we have a bit of a pact, and I'm going to put you on the record here online that if we ever face each other in this league, you have to take a dive. Do you agree?
No, not at all.
I think the pressure of the fans, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no. Anyone who saw this is the worst draft I've ever had. The fact that I am 2-1 right now shows my incredible coaching skills.
Tell me why it was the worst draft ever. That's the most funny part.
Because I couldn't figure out how to get to the draft on time. And so I signed in, and at first I didn't do any research, but I signed in like right as it was my turn to pick. And so I just picked the first person I saw because I was worried about auto drafting somebody. And I got Derrick Henry first, who finally, by the way, paid off a little bit this week, but wasn't who I was originally going to pick. And then my next pick, I was only half paying attention. I was covering Raw at the time as well.
That's not what
so I didn't even have my eye on it. It was just a horrible draft, but I'm 2-1 right now. By the way, both wins by the grace of God had happened. I mean, it had nothing to do with any ability. It was stuff like players getting benched and taken out of games from my opponent's side, and injuries. I've gotten lucky. If this could just happen like 16 more times, I'm in the clear, Flobo.
This is why you're scary, because it's always the one who's like, oh man, I was just rushed and I just did one out, of the ones that end up winning everything. Like, I wasn't trying. Like, I had tabs open, Jack. Tabs.
Oh, if I go all the way, baby, trust me, I am not going to act like I wasn't trying. I'm going to talk about how it was strategy and understanding and research. I'm taking all the credit. I'm not giving that to Lady Luck. What'd she ever do?
Snap. Yo, Lady Luck, you got 24 hours to respond. Let's go into NXT this week, because this one here was chock full of interesting tidbits. Can I say tidbits in the air? Before the ACW move, starting off with our main event, A-Town Down Under, a name I still hate because it's just longer to say than saying Waller and Theory has had a match against Javon Evans and Cedric Alexander. Past meets present meets future. An absolute banger for our main event. But it was A-Town Down Under. Did I say getting the upset? I say it's an upset. Jack, what say you?
Absolutely, it's not an upset. This is an established team who has had championship gold in the past, going up against a team that's still relatively new. I don't understand how you could see this as an upset.
Because they've been losing all the time on different networks and different nights.
Former champions. They held the championships for a very long time as well against some very tough competition. A-Town Down Under, you sound a lot right now like Fraxium. You sound a lot like Nathan Frazier and Axiom, if you don't know who Fraxium is.
I never liked the term, but go ahead.
I mean, I talk about disrespectful. The Grayson Waller effect, one of the biggest talk shows you can be on in pro wrestling. And Grayson talked about how fantastic both these guys are going to be as singles competitors, really tells everyone to keep an eye on him. I think is very professional, very kind, very giving in this interview. But then what does Nathan Frazier do? He starts saying A-Town Down Under is going to split up and break up, and they're not really friends. Suddenly starts getting really personal. I don't understand where this vitriol came from. But at the end of the day, Flobo, who looked like the cohesive tag team? A-Town Down Under. They get the win. They're standing tall, where Fraxium is looking fractured.
I'm with you with that. I think Fraxium has been teasing a split for a long time, but I don't have a question about A-Town Down Under. This isn't our general manager pick 'em, of course, but on SmackDown, they too don't have the best win-loss record. I mean, how long can this team coexist? They did well tonight, but are we looking towards the end of their run as a tag team?
I don't understand where all this talk about these two trying to break up comes from. I think
I can
it's
tell you.
something that. Go ahead.
Well, there was a question posed by Nathan Frazier early in the evening being like, why is it not called the Austin Theory and Grayson Waller effect? And Grayson Waller had no answer. He was like, He wasn't like it was a decision we made beforehand. It looked like Grayson's taking all the spotlight.
It literally was a decision they made beforehand because Grayson Waller had the Grayson Waller effect before A-Town Down Under was a thing. This is just Nathan Frazier trying to be a jerk, as he always is. He had a talk show. He had a talk show once, not as successful as the Grayson Waller effect, mind you. But you'll remember, all he did was try to belittle people, pick people apart, make people unhappy. One of these guys, one of these talk shows that just likes to latch onto the negatives. That's the kind of person Nathan Frazier is. But again, you look at who's standing tall here. A-Town Down Under isn't breaking up. They're an incredible tag team. They've got a bright future ahead. I think that one day we'll look at A-Town Down Under in the same way, possibly better, than we look at the New Day.
What? What?
As people who are positive, their friendship is undying, and they never break up.
You must be out your mind to ever put A-Town Down Under by any metric with the New Day.
I mean, I know a lot of people immediately would say they're more like the Usos, but I disagree because you don't choose your brothers, but you choose your friends. And I think that that's the difference between A-Town Down Under and some of these other teams. They chose this, and that's why they're more like the New Day, a powerful, positive team in the tag team division that'll be together celebrating 10 years. I can't wait for it.
When people ask you if I'm ever upset that they like Jack Farmer more than me, I go, yes, for things like that. That's exactly what. That just ticks me off, man. How dare you? Usos, New Day, different level entirely.
What separates A-Town Down Under from the New Day?
Championships, multiple ones.
I mean, well, yeah, but they haven't been around for 10 years. I mean, how about let's say this. In the past 3 years, what separates A-Town Down Under from the New Day?
Wow, that's just, you can't compare eras, man. That's terrible.
I mean, look, let's not get into ancient history talking 10 years ago. Let's talk about the past 3 years.
Well, in that case, yeah, they actually won more matches than New Day, but hey, that's the way it goes sometimes. But
you heard it here first. Flobo says A-Town Down Under better than the New Day.
Anyway, this week on NXT did a very unique feature. With press conferences that looked like miniature contract signings or miniature promos. They weren't backstage, but they were backstage, but they had a crowd. They had questions being posed. Thoughts about the format? We saw ones with Trick Willie. We saw ones with Fatal Influences. Any one of those that stuck out to you as well with the new press conference, a format a week ahead of the CW move?
In general, I really liked it. I liked that they allowed the press to get in there and talk to the wrestlers and talk to the competitors. I wasn't a fan of them transitioning from the press room into the ringside area. I felt like that made it feel a little disjointed. But in general, I like this. I'd like to see them bring this back more, especially before big events like the move to CW.
Let's talk about that outdoor, indoor, outside press conference. This one revolves around your girl, Roxanne Perez. Ever since become the NXT Women's Champion, she has a bit of a chip on her shoulder. Feel like she doesn't get the respect she deserves. And Julia is not down to give her that respect because she wants that title. Funaki was in tow, interpreting for the press conference. Pretty cool. But the social media moment was Stephanie Vaquer. Shows up on the screen, says, look, I don't know who's going to win this match coming up, but whoever wins, I got next. Now, you already said you're a hater, Jack, of everyone in this ring, but talk to me about this press conference in the ring with Baron Saxon.
Well, that's not true at all. First off, I'm not a hater of Baron Saxon.
Oh,
not a hater of Funaki.
True.
A hater of Roxanne Perez. You talk about the chip on the shoulder of Roxanne Perez. I couldn't see it because she's got an NXT championship draped over that shoulder. So
draped.
Couldn't see it. Couldn't see it on Roxanne Perez. I love how Roxanne Perez spoke the truth here. And that is that the NXT women's division and the NXT title is the most coveted prize in all of wrestling right now for all the women's competitors. And that's why I think Ava needs to do a better job of protecting this brand from all these Johnny-come-latelys trying to get in on this action and jump to the front of the line. You know me. I don't like these outsiders, these invaders coming into NXT. And
Absolutely.
Here they are getting all the opportunities handed to them on a silver platter. Stephanie Vaquer hasn't even had a match yet here she is calling dibs. That's not how this works, Flobo.
Okay, but I gotta ask you this. I have to interject here. I understand there's a format, a process, and win-loss records, and first and second and third contenders. But there's always a desire to get people to flip on the channel, a big money match, if you will. You'd be leaving money off the table if you didn't give the chance to someone out of the blue every once in a while.
I think if they want to have a new challenge for this championship, one that's going to get a lot of people tuning in, getting a lot of people excited, you got a ton of people who are ready to go already. You have Fatal Influence, 3 people who are absolute championship caliber contenders. You got Tatum Paxley there, who has turned away bullies. Talk away about a feel-good story. Tatum Paxley there. You've got so many opportunities here in NXT. I don't know why you need to go looking everywhere else for your competitors. I think NXT is where you should build from. Build from within, Ava. I don't know why you're letting, as I say, these Johnny-come-latelys, now that it's the cool thing, now that Roxanne Perez has built NXT from the ground up, now letting these people, where were they years ago? They had the opportunity then. Why weren't they there then? You know why? Because they didn't see Roxanne Perez there yet. Now that she's there, now suddenly they want to be a part of this thing.
Okay, so I'm not sure if I agree or disagree. I don't agree with you ever, but Julia is a number 1 contender. And so I have to ask, what are the actual odds that Julia walks away the NXT Women's Championship champion after their match?
No one's beating Roxanne Perez. Are you kidding me? She's the future. She's the now. She's the best there is right now. She's the best there's gonna be. And as far as the best there was, doesn't matter. Roxanne Perez wasn't there yet. I think she's going to be the champion for a very long time.
Well, one more question on the subject. This brings us to this week's General Manager Pick'em. General Manager Pick'em, it's kind of weird to say because this is probably our last episode. General Manager Pick'ems, where I ask my broadcast colleague Jack Farmer questions as if he were the general manager of NXT, and the answer cannot be who wants invaders. Now, Stephanie Vaquer has really said to her claim, I'm got next. And so, by your estimation, Roxanne Perez beats Julia for the NXT Women's Championship. Mm-hmm. If you had the choice, when and where will Stephanie Vaquer get that championship opportunity, provided she has to get one?
I would like to see her get that opportunity after earning it sometime in the new year, sometime in 2025. I think she got to beat some folks before you get a championship opportunity. And maybe, look, if she wants to expedite that, maybe she could do it by winning the Royal Rumble. You know, that's where a lot of people try to do it. maybe she could win a tournament. Maybe she could go into Survivor Series and win War Games. I mean, it's funny. I say this stuff, and a lot of people, well, Jack, that's pretty aggressive. Win the Royal Rumble. Well, guess what? That's what you got to do if you want a title shot, Flobo. You don't just get to pop on the Tron and say, I want a title shot. Maybe she could climb the top of a ladder and get a briefcase. Maybe that could get her a title shot, Flobo. If she wants to jump to the front.
I don't usually push back on this thing, but you have a brand where someone who had a match on another company was really written as so good and was a talk of the women's town. She decides to go after your promotion's top prize, and you will delay that 4 months to next year arbitrarily?
Look, there's a lot of guys who do really good in college football, but that does not mean they get to jump to the MVP race as soon as they get to the NFL. This is the big leagues, kid. You want to be in the championship, you've got to earn it. You got to fight through the whole season and get through the playoffs.
Guys, you heard it here first. AEW is college football. I didn't say it. Jack did. Please flame him at Real Jack Farmer across all social media.
I only talked about NXT on this show.
Oh, whatever.
Any other initials. I didn't mention any other initials from any country here. So, because there's a lot of countries involved, a lot of different initials we could be talking about.
Let's talk about the women's division here. We got a healthy serving of women's combat. And when I started the show was Kalani Jordan against Ren Sinclair for the Women's North American Championship. For weeks, Ren Sinclair has been tasked with doing something bold and out of the box, and it got her a women's title opportunity. Now, Kalani Jordan, not your favorite because apparently she hates collectibles. And by
she's
your
a bully.
estimation, yeah. Did pretty well. Gets the dub, retains the championship. Maybe Jack will be coming around on Lonnie.
Well, I've always said Kalani Jordan's talented. I've always said she's great at what she does. Doesn't mean she's not a bully. Doesn't mean she's not a jerk. I mean, unfortunately, that's kind of what gets you ahead in the pro wrestling business.
She's not a bully, though.
And I mean, she's bullying people like Tatum Paxley constantly. But here, Ren Sinclair, first off, congratulations to Kalani Jordan. Big win. She's probably going to be a champion for a very long time. I don't think you mean that, though. But Ren Sinclair, did you notice this crowd was split? They were feeling the fire from Ren Sinclair here. They were getting interested in this. And I know it's tough to take a loss and feel good about it, but Ren Sinclair took a calculated risk, diving up the top rope. Didn't work out, but it could have. And I think if it did, she would be your new North American champion. I think Ren Sinclair did very, very well here. And I've been a big fan of hers. I think she's going to do incredible things. And I think this shows it.
I'm actually with you here. Ren Sinclair is somebody I wouldn't say was not beloved by the CWC crowd, but someone that's has kind of slotted up when it comes to the crowd reactions. This was a big swing from her. She unfortunately missed. And even though I loved her theme song, I want to hear more of it. Really, what is her ceiling now? Is she on a pace? Here's a question. Is she on a pace that would outshine the North Quarter Catch Crew, a group she so desperately wanted to be a part of?
I mean, I think she's already looking like she might do that. I mean, very similar to a Jada Parker OTM situation where you have someone who is such a bright star that they become the standout right away, and they weren't even one of the original members. I think there's a lot of talent in No Quarter Catch Crew, so I'm not saying that they've been left in the dust just yet, but you look at Ren Sinclair, someone who's willing to do whatever it takes to get to that next level, whether it be jumping off that top turnbuckle, slapping a champion in the face. She's got a drive. She's got the fire. She's got the passion. That's the stuff you look for. She's got the talent as well. I think she's got a very high ceiling.
Sidebar with the No Quarter Catch Crew. I like all those guys individually, but something's missing with them being mixed together. I don't know what it is, though.
I've always said I think a good team needs to have more variation. I think there's a lot of similarities with them, and when you have three of the same kind of...
That's crap, because you love American Made on Monday nights. You think it's so great. USA did the same thing 3 times. 4 times if you count Ivy Nile. 3 times.
Listen, you say that there's no differences in American Made. I can name you 3 right off the top of my head.
USA?
Red, white, and blue.
I hate you. Those colors don't run, but I hate you.
You want 2 more? Stars and Stripes.
Stop it. They're the same. They're just 4 people who love America, who lift really heavy things.
Like, well, when you put it when you put it like that, yeah, I think this is a great team.
They will set off so many lunk alarms at Planet Fitness. I'm not even kidding. Just okay. Elsewhere in the women's division, Wendy Chu and Rosemary actually get a tag team win. Again, this is something I was concerned about with Rosemary having one of their more abysmal win-loss records in NXT, coming through the TNA portal against Brinley Reese and Karen Petrovic. These are two ladies also struggling with their win-loss records as well. Rosemary, Wendy Chu, looks like it's going to be a long-term experiment, especially heading into Halloween Havoc. Thoughts about the chemistry of the spooky duo?
The chemistry's coming together. The chemistry's starting to work. Still don't like an outsider like Rosemary coming through, but obviously they got a little bit of help, unintentional. I think Ashanti the Adonis wanted to just get a good look at what's going on over there, but Carmen Petrovic just couldn't keep her eyes off of the Adonis, and I can't blame her. I know he's alluring, but cost her team there. Sometimes you got to keep your eyes on the prize, Carmen, and by prize I mean winning the match.
Yeah, I'm actually in agreement here with you. Ashanti Adonis was not there to distract anybody. He was on his own business, and Carmen went out to investigate why. I have no idea. You fight for a living. Do that afterwards.
I know why she was out there. I mean, come on. You saw Ashanti walking around in the locker room. How do you deny that?
Jack, you're acting like he's a thigh guy. Is he?
I wouldn't know. He
won't show me.
He won't show me.
We're getting canceled. Fine. Okay. Ashanti the Adonis, the man with the rose. What's his deal, by the way? You a fan of this guy just being able to go and come as he please during active matches to talk to the crowd?
I think that he's a good person. I think that sometimes people, like a lot of people, we give him a bad rap, but I think he's just a good-hearted person. And we saw a little bit of it here today where, he went to someone who people had bullied in the past and someone like Tatum Paxley. And he said, listen, I know everyone calls you a freak, but I'm a freak also. And I think he was showing that at a deeper level that Tatum Paxley didn't have to worry about mean things that Kaylani Jordan and Wendy Chu have said in her past, and that, he was connecting with her in that way. And I think that shows a lot of maturity from Ashanti the Adonis.
I just ask him out, bro.
What did you think he meant?
I just think this guy is trying to see what he can do. Like, like the weird high school guy or the college guy that comes back to high school and hangs out in the parking lot. And it's like, hey, bro, you graduated. Like a year between college and high school is like a whole different world. Get out of here, you creep.
That is.
Oh, you agree? Oh, wow. That never
happened. I mean a year between college and high school.
Oh, absolutely, man. He's hanging out like, I go to Kingsborough Community College. Shout out Brooklyn. Hey, get out of here.
Right.
Go to real college.
But yeah, Ashanti, I think clearly is just a good-hearted person trying to bring the locker room together and to show that people should be comfortable in their own skin.
Absolutely. Sidebar, shout out to Kingsborough Community College, as we call it, Brooklyn Jail, because everyone's done time there. We had a matchup with Lexis King against Oro Mensah. Talk about fathers living up to legacy expectations. Oro Mensah gets the dub. Or does he? Mentally, I mean.
Well, I mean, he got the dub both ways, I think, here. I thought that it was great that Lexis King tried to have a heart-to-heart, but at the end of the day, I'm disappointed.
What? Why?
I'm disappointed. One of my favorites. Disappointed that Lexis King took his feet off the ropes. What are you doing? You had a chance to win, Lexis King. Why did you let that one slide? I don't know. I don't understand what you were thinking here, Lexis
That's
King.
Cheating. The ropes are leverage. That's cheating, man. That's like using extra gravity. That's actually one of the cheat things I understand. I never understood. Like, he held on to the ropes. But you using the ropes for leverage is totally unfair advantage.
It's not cheating if you don't get caught.
All right, Eddie Guerrero, but it's still cheating.
I mean, yeah, he could have won. Now he's leaving the loss. I mean, Oro Mensah, I'm happy for Oro Mensah. I mean, of course, very glad he got the win here. But one of these guys got a win and got paid more. Right. Who do you think was the one I should be happy with?
So let's talk about this. Lexis King, about a year ago now, was in the main event picture, wedging himself between Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams in their big saga. I'm not saying he's lost. I mean, he's definitely a name brand. You can definitely recognize him and his beard, but it really has no direction. He told us that metaphor isn't as strong as it was without Noam Dar and still walks out with the loss. Where does he go from here?
Well, disagree with you about that beard having no direction. I mean, that is the most pointed beard I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
That is all directions. That beard, God bless that beard. If
Will that work on the road though? Could he like do that at like the Saudi Arabia tour or like in Europe? Like I feel like his guy is there in Orlando and that's it.
I think his guy is going to go on the road with him at this point. I mean, I'm about to start visiting that guy. I want Alexis King facial hair.
I dare you. Halloween is a month away. I dare you to be Alexis King for Halloween.
If this show's still on, if we get enough support, on this show from the viewers and the listeners, we might see it. I mean, I always like dressing up as my heroes. Alexis King's one of them. So, yeah, I think Alexis King needs to start putting his feet on the ropes.
Oh, yeah. You know what's funny? It's funny how I feel like this show would have just died in the vine, but the fact that someone want to see you be Alexis King will get like a DM link every Tuesday night. Hey, man, click this. Sign WWE. I want to be Ray Gunn for Halloween myself. Shout out to Australia. It's good. It's a good one. It's a little easy one. Oro Mensah, though. The main man, Scoop of Mensa, again, gets the dub here. And I always talk about what Metaphor is going to do. Are they in a holding pattern? Are they waiting for Noam Dar to come back? Or now, if you were the general manager, not to say it's a pick 'em, would you try to saying, hey, look, we're going to have you go your separate ways because you're stronger being separate?
I think Oro Mensah is proof that this is a team that is always going to be together. He's shouldered the load while Noam Dar has been away. And I think that Noam Dar has to be back on the moon smiling right now, looking at his team staying strong without him. Oro Mensah, to break them up and have them go those separate ways would be a slap in the face to everything he's worked so hard for. He's held this group together like Captain America watching the helicopter trying to get away, just holding this thing and stopping it from breaking apart. Yeah,
I love that. You know, when Noam Dar was on screen, I'm like, oh, this guy's so annoying. But I kind of miss the hello, hear me now. You know what I mean? Like
live from the moon.
It's like you don't know what you have until it's gone, Jack.
I miss Noam.
Mm-hmm. Get well soon. Well, speaking about somebody I don't miss, let's talk about Ridge Holland. The guy that everyone says I should care about, but no, he gets himself involved with higher institutions of learning. He demolishes the dean and some of the best students. And today he takes down Riley Osborne with Thea Hale in tow. So it looks like it's mission complete for Ridge Holland. He's gone and done everything he can to do because he is a jerk. But what's next for him after taking on the heart of Chase U?
I look at Ridge Holland, I think he is just the embodiment of life's realities, isn't he? I mean, in this case, Riley Osborne, he facing Ridge Holland. Ridge Holland was like the student loan, just beat him and then kicked him when he was down. I mean, let's face it, this is what school's all about, right?
Yeah, am I cheering for Ridge Holland then? If Riley's student loans, do I
if your name's Tally May, you're probably pretty stoked about Ridge Holland.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I think that he's life's realities here. If no one cheers for life's realities, I mean, I'm sure next he's gonna go after some of the older wrestlers and say there's not enough in the 401k plan.
Okay, so can he be stopped? Well, you're Thea Hale now, right? Not everyone. I will say this. My broadcast colleague Glenn Rubenstein over there at the SmackDown After Show on Wrestling Inc. has told us on his NXT show that he really wants Thea Hale to go out on her own. Frankly, she doesn't have a school anymore. Granted, it wasn't burnt down like Hangman Page and Swerve's house, but there's no more school. There's no more Adam Chase. Everyone is pretty much laid up. Is now the time for Thea Hale to find something new to pursue?
I mean, to your point, there is no school left. It went out of business, got shut down. Like lots of these for-profit schools get shut down. So now it's time for her to do what everyone does in this situation and get a job.
You know,
or go for her master's.
Oh yeah, that's what I did. And why not more debt, y'all? It's actually monopoly money at this point. I owe Sally Mae $200,000. They ain't getting paid. let's be real.
That sounds like a made-up number.
Yeah, it's like monopoly money. But I will say this, and this may be the last episode, so I'm just going to peel back the curtain, as you would say. Of all the deep cuts that I love on the show, from thigh guys to like roses and all that stuff, your hatred of for-profit colleges will go down as one of my favorites. Like stupid for-profit school. It's like what?
For-profit university. If you guys are going to a for-profit school right now, stop.
Yeah, man. Jack says, put it down. Anyway, I like Riley Osborne too. He takes the loss here. Does he try to build up Chase U in his own image? What do you think I'm sure it's what's going to happen. It's going to be some promos talking to Andre Chase to regroup. But if you had a choice here too, will you actually have this be the end of Chase U, or would you try to rebuild?
I mean, you said it. I hate for-profit schools, so I hope they've never come back. You know, I can't wait to see Andre Chase come back as a realtor. And
Wow.
Duke Hudson as a insurance agent, and they all have regular jobs now because the school crashed and burned. I mean, still wrestling. Don't get me wrong. I want to see it on my TV, but it's time for them all to move on to their next things.
You want to go back to 1995 for all the occupation gimmicks? It's TL Hopper or the Goon.
yeah. I think one of them could be the landlord. I think that'd be good.
Boo!
Everyone hates you.
I'm a face. Rents do. Jiro J says Riley the wrestling realtor. Ugh. God. Hey, thanks for lurking. Ugh.
That'd be a great.
Wow.
If you'd like a spot on the top turnbuckle that you could jump off of, give me a call today.
By God, it's his move. It's the lifting. Cover him. One. No. I hate it.
He hit the closing cost.
He hit the closing cost. That's 10% for him and 10% for everyone else in the stands. Moving on to dumb things. The OC had a match, or to say the remnants of the OC. Gallows and Anderson. I'm not sure what they're being called these days because it looks like everyone's gone their separate ways. Because where is AJ and Meachins on Friday nights? But Gallows and Anderson had a match, a rematch, it seems, against Hank and Tank. And well, even though the first match between these four ended up in a victory for Hank and Tank, I thought Gallows and Anderson will get the win. But guess what there, Jack? They did not. Gallows and Anderson 0 for 2 against the Hype Crew. Is the word embarrassment going to be used here?
If you're the Good Brothers, yeah, this is embarrassing. There's no way around it. Hank and Tank, though, this is what happens when you're playing with nothing to lose and a lot of heart. We should have expected, though. I don't know if it's an upset anymore. These guys wore jean shorts, and historically speaking, jean shorts are very successful.
You know what? I'm still waiting for them to come back in style. I got a whole stack in my closet. Like, hey, when it comes back in style, I'll be ready. And that's when I realized I'm actually old.
I can imagine someone being like, Flobo, you got to get rid of all those old jean shorts. Like, no. They'll come back in style.
Yeah.
Put them aside.
It seriously, it's not like movies where you walk in front of a mirror and go, I have wrinkles. It's like certain moments. And I was like, no, things come around is old man energy. Straight up. Like, I'm not getting rid of that. I got rid of my jerseys, but not my jean shorts.
I do. I had that moment. I was at a swap meet and I was like, you know what someone should do is just like buy clothes today and then like keep them in a warehouse because they know in 10 years or 20 years, whatever, they'll be worth a lot of money, but like pristine.
Yeah. The times I've tried that, I've failed miserably. But I know what you mean.
Yeah, I'm like, then I think about it, like, what a horrible investment to spend that much money. Like, just buy a stock or something. Go to Riley Osborne and buy some real estate.
I didn't get my license yet. Okay. I will say this. When I was it 15, 16, I bought like $300 in XFL 1.0 merchandise. It's worth even less now. Nobody cares. Especially, thanks documentary from Netflix. You ruined it. I was waiting for it to come back, and then
my dad still has a bunch of Sonic stuff, that Seattle Supersonic stuff.
Oh, okay. I was like,
hoping
the
to be worth
the Hedgehog,
but
right?
It's not.
Well, I mean, you might be lucky because the Thunder have agreed to give up the history if there were to be another Seattle team, so it may come back.
I mean, yeah, but then they're just going to print up new Sonic stuff, and no one's going to want the old stuff.
You know what? As somebody who's at that point hadn't been to Seattle, I thought the logo with the needle and like the little ball around it was so cool. But I was a '90s kid.
Yeah, it's one of those ones at the time I was like, this is so cool. But now that I look back at it in hindsight, I go, no, the original was cool.
Yeah, I mean, let's be real.
Because it was like, it looks classic and old, where the other one looks very, very 90s.
Oh, yeah. See, the thing is, it's funny because like when we were in the 90s, like, oh man, this is awesome. Teal and purple and flying basketballs to show that it's a basketball team. And then you get to be those throwback nights. You go, oh my God, this is awful. What the hell were we thinking? Nobody saw this.
Yeah, a lot of logos got redone in the 90s, even in like football and everywhere else.
Yeah. The Pistons were actually pretty good, though. Yeah. Okay. Speaking about classic looks, the family got themselves a training montage. For months, kind of the slowest burn in NXT was the family or the syndicate or Tony Angelo and the boys going from being an antagonist to being a hero. Now, Obafemi is going to have his fans regardless because he's an attraction, but looks more and more the cause that we're going to root for Tony Angelo on their eventual rematch. Walk me through the training montage and Tony's chances in round 2.
Really shows you how unbeatable Obafemi is and how indomitable he is when you see Tony D'Angelo do the unthinkable, train, you know.
Wow. He hasn't trained before. That's shade.
They acted like it. He's like, listen, we're gonna have to do this the old-fashioned way: lift weights, go for a jog, you know.
Yeah.
Tony D'Angelo is so busy running restaurants, running the business, running all this stuff.
Business?
I don't think he's ever gotten on a treadmill to run. And I think this was just like, look, I got to get back in here and I got to start working out, get ready to face someone like Obafemi.
Wow. And so do you think he has a better chance for the training montage, or he's just delaying the inevitable?
Well, it doesn't hurt to train before a fight. But Obafemi's inevitable. I mean, listen, no one's beating Obafemi.
Here's a question I thought. If I'm Obafemi and I'm watching NXT and seeing my stunt double get his ass kicked, would that make you more upset? Like, this is what you think of me? Like, you think I look like this guy?
Yeah, was there a little bit of like how Goldberg must have felt when he saw Gilbert come out, or like, you know, where he was like, you're beating up a smaller version of me to imply that you're going to beat me?
Oh, man. Gilbert was so great because I will say this, the sparklers hurt him, and that made me feel a lot more seen. I was like, ow, owie, owie, owie. You know? Gilbert.
I'd love to see, Goldberg would never say it, but I'd love for him to be like, yeah, I did the thing where they did the pyro on top of me, and at first it was so cool, but it hurt, and I didn't want to do it anymore. But they're like, sorry, you've done it once. Now you got to keep doing it. And I've hated myself for that.
Yeah, I know. If that was the case, I'll give Goldberg a lot more props, because I'm like, what is he doing? He's like breathing it in.
Yeah.
Like, dude, stop. You know, you're a machine. We get it. Anyway, for Tony Angelo, I like him. I like his odds. I know there is a common thread in NXT UK and WWE where the second attempt is really when the title changes hands. I wouldn't be mad if Tony Angelo won that championship because we're seeing him training, but Obafemi losing so early in his career will put a lot of questions about his eventual potential or ceiling, if you will. Or am I just being crazy?
Well, he's about to break the record for the longest North American Championship reign. So I get what you're saying this quick, but at the same time, hasn't been as quick as we think it has, you know? That said, Tony D'Angelo, I make fun of the training. This guy's talented. He could win. I don't think it would shock the world, but at the same time, it would kind of shock the world if someone was able to beat Obafemi. You're right. I mean, the idea of Obafemi with his shoulders to the mat for 3 seconds just seems unthinkable right now.
Yeah. So if I'm Tony Angelo, I'll get a submission maneuver. That's just me. I'm not a fighter, though. But Miz TV with the host of the Stare Down next week at the CW premiere, which is pretty cool having the Miz come down. I feel like the Miz has done everything. He's on his victory lap here. Him doing NXT is pretty awesome. Let's talk about the other big sit down that really wasn't a sit down. It was Wesley and Zach Wentz. They have a match next week, and it looks like it's going to be a blood feud match ender or feud ender. But the actual conversation was far from pleasant.
Yeah, I couldn't hear. I just heard beeps the whole time. So I don't know if it was the audio or something. Couldn't really understand much. But let's seriously though, Wesley's already in Zachary Wentz's head. Wesley is playing this kid. He's making him dance like a puppet. Wesley, NXT wrestler, about ready to show the world that they're better than those TNA wrestlers.
Did you have one of those Guardian boxes, like as a kid?
No,
like TV Guardian box. Like, so you said that you didn't hear anything. They're all bleeps and stuff. But when I was a kid, some of my friends had TV Guardians, and they were like ran by this Christian company that would like scan TV shows with delay and add in bleeps and blackout footage and content. as a way of making sure you're close to the Lord or something. It was like super sensor box you could buy to make sure the stuff was clean on TV.
No, did you have one of those?
No, my next door neighbor did.
Oh.
It was weird. I was like, I just saw the episode.
Nerd.
Yeah, because it was the 90s where like people from Friends on the show Friends were like, it's bitchin'. Like that was a word, bitchin'. But you couldn't, it would short it out.
Nerds.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, the box we had was the one that got you free pay-per-view.
Okay, that's a devil's box. I'm talking about the one for God. Killer Demon says, hi, guy. Just finished the Vince documentary and it was impressive. The reason I'm bringing up this comment, because I usually would ignore Vince content, was I will watch it only because I know all of my Laps fans will be like, what'd you think, bro? And I have to have an opinion on it, but I'm not looking forward to that at all. And Joe J says, TV Narcs. I know. I think it got beamed out to St. Peter and the pearly gates or something.
and St. Peter was like, St. Peter's son, he's like, nerds.
Damn. Like, it's okay, you can jump down.
As he's watching his pay-per-view for free up at the pearly gates.
I mean, why not? Cable is a racket. We all illegal hotbox killer. Well, statute of limitations are over, so I'll agree. I had one too, but I had it pretty late. I was 17.
I mean, how do you think I watched so many wrestling pay-per-views? You think I was paying? Like my dad would not give me money for a wrestling pay-per-view. Let me tell you.
I feel like people don't understand how expensive wrestling was. Like, yeah, AEW $50 now, but a cheeseburger is $15 now. $50 back then was an investment. And it was every month like clockwork.
It was every month, and there was 2 of them. So it was like 24 a year for $50.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I can't imagine doing that. We did tape trading because I didn't have cable until I was 17. So I would just pay a guy $10. He would make a tape, and then we would pass tape around. But of course, it's high school, so one kid always forgets the tape, and it's always like, well, there goes that.
It's gone forever. It's the same kid, and then who later brags about his collection.
Oh yeah, but I can't bring it out. I'm not allowed to bring it out, guys.
Right. And it's the collection's all the tape that you were supposed to be trading.
Absolutely, jerk. Before we wrap this up, Jack, it's next week's Chicago. You excited? 1 to 10, watching it live. You going to Chicago? What's up?
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. I'd love to go to Chicago and see this one. It's going to be a good show. I'm very excited to see it, and I think that NXT does a great job when it needs to hit a home run of hitting home runs.
Well, you know what time it is. Now time for our favorite segment of the show. It's the MVP of NXT. Well, what might be the final time here on Draped and Gold? I'm going to ask you your MVP of NXT. Who's the one that stuck out for you the most? Person, tag team, or staff member?
Well, I think this potentially being the last one that we're ever going to do, I think it's fair to say that the MVP of NXT is me, Jack Farmer, covering this show every single week like clockwork, 164 times. I give myself the MVP of NXT, and you can't take it away from me. Absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Wait. Even the weeks you weren't there, you're still the MVP?
Yes. And all future shows.
Well, I would say the MVP, the one that stuck out the most for us during the run of Draped in Gold 1 and 2, is Jack Farmer. This show is nothing without you. People love you more, and you are the conscience of this show. So thank you. You are the MVP this week.
A lesser man would feel bad about picking himself, but I can take both awards. And hold them both up. I am the best. Like Owen Hart with the 2.
Oh man. See, now Owen Hart was hard to actually appreciate it. But that's another story for another time. Killer Demon says, sad the NXT post shows are going. It is not going. If you want to listen to NXT post show coverage, Glenn Rubenstein and currently Emily May lock it down over that Wrestling Inc. As we're trying to figure it out. So if you want to watch NXT post show content, you can always head over there. But until we figure out this with Draped in Gold, we're pretty much going to be out. If we find a way, we'll let you guys know. Of course, we won't leave you out in the cold,
because we don't have those cheater boxes anymore.
Right, because the statute of limitations are still active. So no, I have a
funny enough, if you go all the way back, to where the statute of limitations ends, it's right about the time
I came clean. I came to my senses.
It's weird how that lines up so well.
Right. St. Peter knows about it, nerd. Well, in the meantime, I gotta throw this up here just because of why not? We still have merch though, because the inventory is pretty much not gonna be needed after this. If someone wanted to contact you, Jack Farmer, where to go about doing that?
Best way they can do that is to follow me at Real Jack Farmer across all social media. I was actually able to do commentary and ring announcing for West Coast Pro yesterday. That's why my voice is a little haggard, but I'm still getting through it. Great show. You should be able to see that very soon, and I will post those details at Real Jack Farmer.
West Coast Pro having you work double duty. I mean, what about your boy Flobito? How come we don't agree in the booth anymore? What's up with that?
I don't know. I'd love to work with you in the booth sometime. I think you and I would be a great team, especially somewhere out in the UK as the American announce team.
Absolutely. Oh, darn tootin'. Yeehaw. Well, as for us, hopefully we'll be back here at some time doing this stuff, but you'll definitely see us on Wrestling Inc. Wrestling After Shows post show until they let us go there as well. Learn more at wrestlinginc.com. As for me, I'm going to keep working on the blog, justasandwich.com, following the Mets over with Mets Digest. Check it out on YouTube. And this could be the end of Draped in Gold. This is so sad, man. I don't know. So I can't even say till next time or down the road. Do we say the next business thing we do to get? I don't know. But just say the words, man.
Do your best and be yourself.